So, welcome to part 7 of the Honda or 81 Honda C70 slash Super Cub restoration. In this one, we're going to start by getting some work done on these new plastics that I've purchased. So I know in previous videos I mentioned that I was actually going to fix the old plastics and insert footage of that attempt here. Turns out the activator that was in the fiberglass kit that I had, which was relatively old, wasn't working anymore, and it caused pretty much a mess. And so instead of trying to clean that up and fix it and do it again, I just said screw it and I bought new plastics. So new headlight slash handlebar plastic, 2 new side panels, new front fender. We're going to go ahead and get those prepped and done with some adhesion promoter, and then get those sprayed so it's the same color as all the metal parts we did for the bike. Also going to do this front cover here as well so it matches. The shin guard doesn't get painted, but we do have to cut out our electric start motor location here on these. And then once we get this stuff primed and painted and ready to go, we're actually ready to start putting the bike back together. So we're probably going to take a look at the motor then, see if we can figure out what's on the go with the starter on that, because that wasn't working. And we'll start getting stuff put back together from there. So let's get down to business. We've got work to do. So when you're getting ready to paint plastics, it is of paramount importance that you go through proper cleaning and preparation of your parts. For parts like this fender, this was stamped out and the actual injected plastic was this blue color. This is probably going to have a bunch of mold release and stuff left on. I can feel it's still pretty slick, even though it's covered in dust because I did some woodworking related projects over the past couple months. Making sure this is clean with naphtha, giving it a good scuff, 200 and then 400, to make sure that you don't have any of that mold release left on there, that you got a good surface for your adhesion promoter, primer stuff to bond to. These parts here have been painted already. You can see these were originally black, and the reason I got this color is that's all I could find. So we're also going to give those a good clean, a good scuffing down, 200, 400, adhesion promoter, and then we should be good to paint. Same thing for this piece here, same thing for this piece here. So let's run the fast forward. You can watch me get the stuff cleaned up and ready for some adhesion promoter. Here we go. So now that we've given these parts a preliminary wipe down so that we're not grinding any dust and dirt into the plastic, right now I'm going to let those flash off, give them a few minutes to do that. Once it's flashed off, we'll go ahead and we'll start sanding. So I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to start sanding. I'll give this stuff a good scuff. I'm going to keep the naphtha here because between sanding, we're going between grits 2 and 4. I'm still going to want to give it a wipe down to get all that sanding dust off as well, to make sure we've got pristine, clean surfaces that we're then going to be hitting with our adhesion promoter. So, let's do some more fast forward. So just in that first section there, you can see, not trying to be overly meticulous, but I'm just going right around the outside for the time being, making sure we don't have anything shiny, that things are looking scuffed up. I've got some 220 and then we're going to go to the 320. I thought I had some 400, but that's as close as I have. Other than that, I've got 600. That's too fine a grit for what I'm doing. So we'll jump back into the fast forward. I'll get this part finished up and then I'll bring you guys in and out fast forward wise while I get the other parts done. Once those are done and sanded down to, or up to 320, we'll go ahead and give them a good cleaning off, hit them with our adhesion promoter, give them some time to cure, and then we'll be back again to get some paint on those. So let's finish sanding this part and we'll get everything ready for the adhesion promoter. So I just want to bring you guys in tight real quick to show you what I'm talking about. You can see most of the surface on this now is nice and matte. If we look at the back, you can see it's kind of like reflecty. This side is nice and matte now. You're going to be looking for any places that, like in this little nook here, you can see there's a bit of shine left of that. Your adhesion promoter might help with getting paint to stick to that, but if this was all matte like the rest of it is, it would stick a lot better. So we're going to go pay keen attention to making sure we get all these spots scuffed up before we move on to our next grit, and that way we can ensure that our adhesion promoter and then our paint will really stick to these plastics. So now I've got this front piece done. I'm pretty sure to get the other 4 plastic pieces done, I'm probably going to be an hour or so, probably a bit longer, sanding that stuff, getting it ready for the adhesion promoter. So I'm going to go away. You'll see a few quick clips on the way through of the pieces that I'm working on, and then, yeah, I'll say it again. Adhesion promoter for the 15th time this video. So, back at it. So here's finished sanding of one part. I've decided I'm just going to do 220 because I think by the time I get the adhesion promoter on that and then lay the thicker single stage enamel on it, it'll be smooth as glass. So I'm going to go ahead now and do this with the rest of the parts, and we'll come back when we're ready to put some adhesion promoter on it. So I'm going to stop saying that for once and actually do it. Back in an hour and a half. So now that I've got all my plastics good and scuffed, I'm ready to give them a quick wipe down with some naphtha again. That way they're nice and clean. Once the naphtha flashes off, we'll go ahead and we'll hit them with our adhesion promoter tie coat. And then we'll give that 3 or 4 minutes, hit it with a second coat as per the instructions on the can. And then we'll give that a full 24 hours before we come out. Give everything a nice wipe down with probably a bit of tack cloth, and then hit it with some of our actual color. So, quick wipe and a couple tie coats. So now I'm going to give that an after 5 or 10 minutes to flash off, just so that we know there's nothing left between the adhesion primer or the adhesion promoter slash tie coat and the plastic that we're spraying it onto, or the surfaces that we're spraying it onto. That way we'll ensure that good tie coat. One of those, 3 minutes later for a flash, another one of those again, and then this stuff sits for 24 hours and we'll be back tomorrow. So back shortly when we're ready to spray this. We'll capture both those coats quickly and then on till tomorrow. So that's adhesion promoter slash tie coat. This stuff here, multi-tie adhesion promoter by Transtar. So you'll recognize the Transtar name. In the last couple videos ago, I used the Transtar primer to prime the parts I was painting, and that stuff turned out really well. So I want to go with the Transtar stuff again. If I can leave a link to this stuff in the description, an affiliate link for Amazon, I'll try, and if not, then hey, just go ask your local auto parts or auto paint supply, see if they got it. Either way, a couple more minutes for this stuff, and we'll go ahead and we'll get coat 2 on. I've decided I'm going to pop a quick third coat on this. These parts over here are nice and smooth for the most part. Well, they're essentially nice and smooth. The fender's still a bit rough. This stuff you can also wet sand it with 400 once it's cured. So I'm going to do coat 3 on the fender, light coat number 3 on these other parts, just because 3 for everything, just because. And Then tomorrow we'll come have a look and see if we want to wet sand any of this before we go ahead and start actually painting it. So last quick coat and then on to tomorrow. So that's 3 coats of our TranStar multi-adhesion promoter and tie coat. Like I said, I'll try to get you guys a link to that. If not, then just check with your local auto finish supply place. So like I said, 3 coats on all these parts. Tomorrow we'll come out and have a look and see if we want to do some wet sanding before we do our final paint, or if we can just dive right into the paint. Either way, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So it's been about 24 hours, and that's given this enough time to let the tie coat slash adhesion promoter primer stuff cure on all the plastic parts. I just gave them a quick feel. Some of them are rough, like this feels pretty rough. The fender there feels pretty rough. There are also a couple very small runs on it because I probably went a bit thick with my 3rd coat kind of thing, and I should have been a little lighter handed with it. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got a bucket full of soapy water back there behind the tool cabinet. I'm going to go ahead and get some 600 grit sandpaper. We're going to give everything a nice smooth wet sand, wipe it all down, make sure it feels good. Then we're going to set this all aside, leave the heat here in the garage on around 16 degrees Celsius overnight, let things dry out, and that way tomorrow we can get down to painting this stuff, which I'm looking forward to. So let's do some wet sanding. Woohoo! So that's our plastics, all nice and silky smooth now. You can see a couple spots here where I had to take down a couple runs. Everything is nice and smooth there now. So I'm going to give this overnight to dry. In the morning, I'll come out, give this all a good wipe down with some naphtha, and start laying down some of our nice Paradise Blue. Same as we've got on the rest of our parts So it'll all be that color tomorrow. So I will see you guys in the morning. So here we are, it's the next day. All the water from our wet sanding should be dried up on our parts now. I just went ahead and hung some drop cloth, I guess some plastic drop cloth. I'll just sweep you this way. So I got a part of the garage sort of like just sectioned off. So I'm going to go inside there and do some painting. So that's where I'll go get the paint on these things. First I'll give these a quick wipe with some naphtha. I'll bring them in, lay them out in the paint booth, in quotations. And then I'll go ahead and hit those with a few coats so we can get those nice and colored. So here we go, some fast forward to me wiping these down, then we'll get them set up in the paint booth. So I've got things laid out now in my little paint booth. I'll get the wall of my paint booth today. See, things are all lined up there. I'm not going to be able to shoot any video with this camera because I don't want to get any overspray on this, my nice DSLR. But I'll try to set up my phone somewhere just so that I'll catch a bit of footage that I can pass in as well. It might not look as good, but at least it'll be a bit of footage. So, here goes. I'm going to get my paint gun set up. Get the air dryers and filters and stuff on my air lines, and we'll start getting this stuff sprayed. So here we go. So I just finished the first coat of this stuff. I'm going to try to get in with the good camera now to have a quick look and see how things are looking. So you can see now we've got that nice paradise blue color, the same as we got on these parts over here and the frame that's up in the attic of the garage right now. We'll sweep in for a quick little closer look. I'm going to give this stuff about 15 minutes to cure up properly. And then once it's nice and cured, we'll come back and hit it with coat 2. I'm thinking 2 coats might do this because this looks really, really good. I think that that tie coat adhesion promoter really did a great job on this stuff. I really, really like the look of this actually. And I'm a big fan of single stage enamel as well. I've always had really, really good results. I've honestly never even sprayed a look at how smooth that looks, man. It looks really great. I've never even sprayed like a base clear before. And I mean, it's something I'd definitely like to try for sure. But for the time being, here's how our single stage is looking. I'll pop the cell phone camera on again when I go to hit this stuff with light coat number 2. And then we'll have another little quick chat. So here we go. This is the result after coat 2. So if I can stand here, get a little bit of a zoom. I don't want to get in too close. I'm afraid I'll stir up dust. But anyways, there's the front fender, the little front plate, the 2 side covers. You can see the reflection of this stuff on the door and those, and the front headlight slash handlebar cover. I'll go around the other side, do another quick little shot. My nose is really running right now because I just cleaned everything with acetone, and it's got me just nose watering here. But either way, just a quick look from this side here, so you can see those parts are nice, ready to go. 2 coats of single stage. So we'll give this stuff 24 hours, good cure, and then we'll put that stuff aside for a later date when we're ready to reassemble the bike, and we'll start looking into why the starter on this motor wasn't working. So I'll see you tomorrow.